World War II. This war occurred over the span of 6 years during the middle of the 1900s. A global war that pitted the Allied powers of Russia, France, the United States, and Great Britain against the Axis powers, Germany, Italy, and Japan. The start of this Great War is often attributed to the German invasion of Poland. Although this did officially start World War II, its true genesis dates back long before that fateful day in 1939. At the end of World War I, Europe had been greatly destabilized. And in many respects, World War II grew out of issues left unresolved by that earlier conflict. And in particular, political and economic instability in Germany and lingering resentment over the harsh terms imposed by the Versailles Treaty fueled the rise to power of Adolf Hitler. By the end of 1921, Hitler led the growing Nazi Party, capitalizing on widespread discontent in Germany. Hitler was obsessed with race and the idea of ethnic purity. Hitler saw a natural order that placed the so-called Aryan race at the top. In 1932, Hitler ran against the war hero Paul von Hindenburg for president. With the government in chaos, 3 successive chancellors failed to maintain control, and in late January 1933, Hindenburg named the 43-year-old Hitler as chancellor. Hitler swiftly consolidated power, anointing himself Führer, supreme leader, in 1934. In the mid-1930s, he secretly began the rearmament of Germany, a violation of the Treaty of Versailles. Hitler's open aggression was left unchecked, as the United States and the Soviet Union were concentrating on internal political affairs, and neither France nor Britain were eager for confrontation. Once he confirmed the alliance with Italy in the so-called Pact of Steel in May 1939, Hitler then signed a non-aggression pact with the Soviet Union. However, on September 1, 1939, Nazi troops invaded Poland, finally prompting Britain and France to declare war on Germany and disregard any hope of negotiation. In the US, though the Roaring '20s had come to a close, jazz was still all the rage. America had just suffered a massive hit to their economy and was still grappling with its effects. Despite the Great Depression's devastating impact on many Americans, the 1930s witnessed the emergence of many influential cultural trends. Literature, arts, music, and cinema of the period became vehicles for establishing and promoting what would be presented as truly American traditions and values. In the words of Ernest Hemingway, of the hell broth that was brewing in Europe, we have no need to drink. We were fools to be sucked in once in a European war, and we should never be sucked in again. After World War I, most Americans concluded that participating in international affairs had been a mistake. Although, in retrospect, the U.S.'s entry into World War II seems inevitable, in 1941 it was still the subject of great debate. Isolationism was a great political force, and many influential individuals were determined that U.S. aid policy stopped short of war. As the conflict in Europe was becoming more of a threat, and the Allied powers were losing more money and resources, America stayed neutral, but began to protest more of a freedom in the world that could not exist with the impacts of Nazi Germany. Congress passed a series of Neutrality Acts, which banned Americans in any future war from selling arms or making loans to belligerent countries. However, after the German invasion of Poland, America changed its stance. The president aimed to provide aid to Britain, yet he continued to talk the language of peace and uninvolvement. Arthur Vandenberg, a leading Senate Republican, was against the president's ideas. He stated that for America, there is no middle ground. We are either all in or all the way out. Upon being returned to office, Roosevelt moved quickly to aid the Allies. His Lend-Lease Act, passed in March of 1941, committed the United States to supply the Allies on credit. In a bold surprise attack, Japanese aircraft destroyed or damaged 18 ships of war at Pearl Harbor. On December 8th, the next day, Congress, with only one dissenting vote, declared war against Japan.